It's hard to believe it's been 85 days since lockdown began.
Sometimes feels longer.
Oh, it does. It's been tough going for all of us. But with non-essential shops reopening this week in some places, for many of us, it does sort of feel like a return to normality, doesn't it?
But not all of us are able to enjoy the same freedoms right now, as more than 2 million people across the country are still being advised to stay at home as much as possible because the risk to their health is too great.
So we've been catching up with 2 households still currently shielding, with one family receiving a surprise call from none other than the Duke of Cambridge, Prince William.
My name is Shelby Lynch and I'm 22 years old. I live in Leeds and I have a muscle wasting condition called spinal muscular atrophy, and I have been shielding from COVID-19 since the 9th of March. My mental health was pretty rocky in the beginning, because I was getting really panicky a lot and my chest felt really tight when I was panicking. Well, the first day I went out, I hadn't been in my car for 3 months and I was really scared. I made my parents wiped out everything, but I was quite anxious.
Slowly, Shelby gained the confidence to venture out further.
So I haven't seen my boyfriend since the beginning of March for his birthday. So I thought I'd surprise him. It was a little bit scary because I was going further than just round the corner. But he was really excited to see me. So I thought I wasn't scared anymore. I just sort of lived in the moment for those 3 hours.
5-year-old Caden has cystic fibrosis, which means his lungs are vulnerable to infection. He's been shielding since the 17th of March.
What are you missing most, though, about not being able to go out?
Well, I'm missing all of my friends, missing my school.
Missing going out?
Well, I'm missing everything in this country.
Morning, I do apologise.
Just before shielding rules were relaxed slightly in England on the 1st of June, Caden got a surprise video call from the Duke of Cambridge, Prince William.
He's trying to show you his rainbow T-shirt that he's got.
I know, I can see that, Caden. It's a brilliant rainbow T-shirt. How are you doing?
We're okay. We're struggling a little bit, as you can imagine. You know yourself, you've got a 5-year-old, to try and keep them in and contained is quite difficult.
And what are the sort of specific challenges that you found really hard, Lan? Is it just trying to entertain him and keep him busy without being able to go outside every day?
Caden is definitely the lack of social interaction. So to have that taken away from him, that's been the worst one. He was actually trying to pull the front door open.
Right.
And he was literally begging me if he could go out for a walk. And I was like, I really can't let you out, Caden. It's horrible. But what else can you do? I've got to keep him safe.
Oh, look at that. What is that, Caden?
It's a shower.
It's a shower. Very cool. I love it. Is it even more hard and frustrating for you guys? Bear in mind, the lockdown's starting to ease a little bit than they were.
Yeah. And of course, Caden heard that on the news and he was like, oh, we can go out now. And I was like, no, we can't. So he's now like, well, why can everyone else go out and I can't?
A lot of people will start to go back to work a lot more. And we need to keep the focus on you guys who are going to be shielded and finding that very, very difficult.
People's mental health will suffer because of this.
Absolutely.
And Caden's emotional health is starting to become a little bit frayed. Because I said to him the other day, oh, hopefully it won't be long, we can go out for a walk. And he's like, I don't think I want to, Mum, because I'm too scared. So I'm now worried that maybe his emotional health is now going to have to be impacted as well. Boy, he's shown you Chase from Paw Patrol now.
Oh, can I see him? Is it? I think I know Chase. Yeah. Seen Chase a few times. George used to watch Paw Patrol a lot.
Oh, did he? He loves Paw Patrol.
I just wanted to ring to say, Catherine and I are thinking of you guys and hope that this ends very soon for you, okay?
Stay safe.
It's telling you to stay
safe. You too. Bye-bye.
Since that call, the advice changed and Caden's been able to venture out a little bit more.
Caden, how do you feel about being out?
Happy.
What do you wish would happen with the virus?
I'm scared. In case the virus never goes back.
But you're happy to be out for a little while, aren't you?
Yes.
And you've seen a swan.
Oh, thank you so much to Shelby, Leanne and Caden for sharing their stories with us. And of course, to Prince William. It must have been so tough for her as a mum to try and convince him that he had to stay in the house. You know, it's hard, isn't it? It's really hard with young children.
And isn't Prince William lovely on those calls? He's done a number of them now. Really smashing. Well, really good. Dr. Sarah Jarvis is with us now. The big news today, of course, is about the dexamethasone drug.
I said it right. Time.
I've been practising, and we'll talk about that later. But first, there are more than 2.2 million people still shielding right now. Just remind us exactly who the at-risk people are at the moment.
The advice came out in the middle of March. Some people didn't get their letters for quite a long time after that, but the idea was that they should shield for at least 12 weeks. It's now going up to the end of June. And that'll be people like Caden, who've got cystic fibrosis, people who've had an organ transplant, people on chemotherapy for cancer, people who've got blood or bone marrow cancers, and a group of others. But the good news is that the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health has just come out with a new position statement saying, actually, they think a lot of children currently on the shielded list maybe don't need to be on it because the risk to children is so small. Unfortunately, that doesn't include kids with cystic fibrosis, though.
Now, the Prime Minister is about to give an update for the shielded group. Any ideas what those announcements may look like? I mean, some people may not want to do any more than they're doing anyway, but what would be an option for them?
Well, I'm not privy to what goes on and what goes on in his mind. But I do know that the number of people affected is significantly lower than it was when we went in, and we are absolutely coming down the peak on the other side. Now, we are not there yet, so we can't all stop and think life's gone back to normal, but we're now looking at about 1 in 1,800 people we think at any one time affected. That means that given that that does seem still to be going down, the risks for people who are shielded are much lower than they were. Right. And I think that announcement in England on the 1st of June that people can come out with one other person, either a member of their household or, if necessary, someone who isn't, but staying 2 metres apart, staying outdoors. I think that's an indication that we're going to see him saying, actually, it's getting safe enough that you can start to do more.
Yeah, and if you are shielding, what support is there for you?
Lots of support available. So there have been more than 3 million food boxes delivered, about 300,000 a week, about 100,000 calls a day made to find out about people's support needs. Those amazing more than 500,000 volunteers, NHS volunteers, are ringing up to check on people if they're lonely, mental health support, 400,000 pharmacy deliveries, loads of stuff. And it is still going on. You can still register if you're on the shielded list on gov.uk.
OK.
Brilliant.
Great.